We often say it's a small world, but this next story really demonstrates it. Daryl Parker is from Paradise Hill, near Lloydminster, and he was hiking with his family near Canmore in Alberta back in June when he suffered a massive heart attack that left him unconscious in the woods. Now, thankfully, many people rushed to perform CPR and called paramedics, and one of those people was Dr. Cory Adams. He just happens to be a cardiac surgeon in Calgary, and in a rare coincidence, he ended up performing a quintuple bypass surgery on Parker a few days later. And they both join me now to talk about the tale. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Daryl, take us back to that moment at Grassy Lakes. What do you remember about that day?
It I don't remember a lot about that day because as things happened, I must have lost my short-term memory a bit. But I do remember the evening before. It was kind of a planned event with the family, my son and his wife, and my wife, myself, and we settled into the room, did some visiting. Next morning, got up and had some breakfast and headed up for the hike. Uh, we made the hike, completed the hike. We went up to the top, and I do remember the odd occasion during the hike. I remember going by some rock climbers, and I remember at the top discussing our way down, whether we'd go down the pipeline or take the tough way down. Uh, we took the tougher way down, and at the bottom, found a picnic site and relaxed and chatted, and we were just heading back to the truck, and that's when it happened. Everybody was heading back up, and I just was making my way up, and I didn't turn up, so my son came back down, and already a crowd had kind of grown around me, and people had started to work on me at that point in time.
Cory, how did you come upon Daryl that day?
Yeah, so my family, my wife and my two kids and friends of ours went for a hike in that same area that Daryl was at, and it was quite busy. So we had completed the hike as well, and we were actually just walking to get our car, and then to subsequently drive home or drive up. And so then what we heard from friends of ours is that there was an accident up ahead, and then they told us that it was someone was unconscious on the road. So my wife and I got out and we went and looked and we found Daryl with another bystander who was unconscious on the side of the road.
Daryl was taken to Canmore, then to Foothills Medical Center in Calgary, where you happened to work. Cory, how did you find out that Daryl was there?
Yeah, I mean Daryl's, after the CPR in Canmore of around 20 minutes, they were able to transfer him to the Canmore Hospital and then to us here at the Foothills at the Libin Institute, and we have a system whereby one of the cardiac surgeons, after he had his cardiac cath, was approached and asked to consult to see Daryl for consideration of open heart surgery. So in the hallway on that Monday morning, when someone was asking me what I did this weekend, and I said, well, I was telling them my story. And then the cardiac surgeon said to me, well, that gentleman is up on the CCU because I just got the call to be consulted for him after he had an out of hospital arrest and now needs open heart surgery.
So, how did his surgery go, Cory?
Surgery went great. Daryl did very well. I did five bypasses for Daryl, which gives his heart muscle a lot more new blood flow, should increase its strength, and everything went great. The next day, Daryl was extubated, sitting up in his bed, talking to us, and then 4 or 5 days later, or 5 or 6 days later, Daryl went home. So he's done very, very well.
Daryl, how do you feel now after everything you've been through?
Well, I feel pretty lucky from right from the start when everybody that had to be there to rescue me was there, and then being able to be moved so quickly and efficiently to the hospital. And not only that, first thing I remember after I came out of that initial, I was under a couple days uh, to allow me to rest and regain my strength. I was under anesthesia for a couple days, and when I woke up, actually Cory was there. I can remember, and he managed to tell me a little bit about what had happened, what had transpired. So he was one of the first things I remember when I woke up the first time as well. So it was quite amazing, and that it worked out that he did the surgery as well, and helped me in my recovery.
So, Daryl, what did you learn from all of this?
Well, you never know when something like this could happen. Uh, we knew we were coming on this trip, and I actually do a lot of walking, stair climbing, and work I do. Plus, I did extra walking. We did hill climbing ahead of time, and didn't foresee anything like this that could happen. And so when this does happen to you, you realize, well, no matter what preparations you do, something can happen at any time. So the only thing I've always taken CPR throughout my career. It's part of my job requirement that I have CPR, but I've never ever had to implement it or use it. But certainly will. If I have to, I certainly will because it saved my life. That's for sure.
Cory, I can imagine you haven't seen anything like this happen in your career before.
No, it's very rare. We, as in the hospital, we have hospital arrest post cardiac surgery, and the trained professionals that work here, the nurses and the anesthesiologists, the intensivists, the doctors, the whole team, after heart surgery, many times will have to resuscitate patients that have arrests like this. But to be out in the periphery on the side of a hill or side of a mountain with working with the EMS, the firemen, bystanders, and then to come into the hospital and do so well as Daryl has done is really truly amazing.
So, do you two plan to meet up again?
Well, there's certain discussions about doing an anniversary hike, and I think it would be a great idea to bring some, you know, that how CPR could save your life. If
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I think we're gonna plan on doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they just to raise. I mean, for everybody in right that participated and helped, it's a really great story, and it can just tell you that CPR, life saving skills, and just helping out in a situation and remaining calm can make a big difference.
Thanks so much for your time today, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Daryl Parker is from Paradise Hill. He suffered a heart attack while hiking with his family near Canmore, Alberta last month. Dr. Cory Adams is a cardiac surgeon who performed CPR on Parker and then performed bypass surgery on him 9 days later. You can read more about their story at cbc.ca/sask.